Hi everyone, you can call me Psycho, and I recently put out a video that was supposed to be my all-encompassing thoughts on Mario Kart World, and I realized after I uploaded it that the most important new addition to this game that completely changed the way it is played compared to other Mario Kart games was not something that I mentioned at all in the video. So I decided, why not just make an entire video just based on that one thing? So, yeah, that's what this is. As Mario Kart fans, we all know that it can get very competitive despite it being a party game that's primarily intended for children. There's always been enough depth and complexity within the gameplay to allow the dedicated players to push the game to its limits and have a ton of fun with it. And that could be in the form of optimizing driving techniques, learning item balancing mechanics and memorizing them, or just straight up finding absurd glitches and things like that. These are what have kept dedicated players and just big fans of the series coming back over the years. But to learn all this stuff, you had to jump into a time trial or queue up a race by yourself and play the track over and over and over again in order to master even the smallest minute details about the track. And I've talked about how much I love time trials as a game mode before, but I always felt there were a few things about time trials as a practice mode that were flawed and could be improved. The main thing is just the fact that you have to restart the track every time, even if all you're really practicing on the track is one specific maneuver, one specific shortcut, or whatever it may be. You have to start the entire 3-lap track over again just to get back to that one spot. So I always felt that Mario Kart would benefit from a mode where you could just endlessly drive around the same track over and over again seamlessly. And another way to solve this would be to be able to, instead of having to restart the whole track or go all the way around for another lap, you could just try the same section over and over again. So these issues were both solved in Mario Kart World. With the free roam mode, while yeah, the tracks are altered a little bit, they still give you a great way to learn the track layouts because you can just endlessly drive. You don't have to restart every 3 laps. You can just endlessly drive around the same track and learn the layout of the track, which is great. But the most important change and addition, which is what I want to focus on mainly in this video, was the addition of the rewind function. And when this was revealed, I, among many others, was intrigued, but I was also slightly concerned because I didn't know how it would shake up the classic gameplay loop of Mario Kart like we're used to it. We've kind of gotten used to time trialing at that point. We didn't really know what we were missing, but I don't think anyone really expected it to shake up the competitive side of Mario Kart as much as it did. I think what's interesting about it is that, like I mentioned earlier, even with the very cumbersome and often tedious ways of learning tracks and shortcuts and techniques in previous Mario Kart titles by having to replay tracks through time trials and races and things like that in order to learn them, even with that, players still push those games to their limits and we're willing to put up with that stuff, and we still got crazy, awesome, fun tech out of games like Mario Kart Wii, Mario Kart DS, and recently Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for the past, 8 years? And now the rewind function has allowed these same players to take that dedication and apply it to a game that allows you to just retry the same strategies over and over and over again instead of having to restart and go through that whole process. And this has just rapidly increased the rate at which new techniques, new shortcuts, and other discoveries have been made in this game. And this can be done not only within free roam, it can be done within time trials too, though the clock will keep running. Nintendo unfortunately has not given us the ability to turn back time quite yet. Mario Kart World has incredibly in-depth driving mechanics. It feels like Nintendo taking their expertise from creating great 3D platformers with really fun movement, and their expertise in creating games like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with really satisfying driving mechanics, and giving you the best of both worlds. And being able to jump off of and trick off of and drive on nearly every surface in the game, players have found so many fun maneuvers and shortcuts to practice. The versatility in the driving and tricking mechanics in this game, combined with the ability to just replay the same action over and over again until you've mastered it, has given this game a shortcut revolution from the very beginning. Previous Mario Kart titles have had similar revolutions, but usually they happen later on in their lifetime. We've seen players finding and learning these techniques at such a faster rate with this game, and I attribute pretty much all of that to the rewind function. And I think the free roam mode has had a lot of impact on this too. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, the tracks are slightly altered in order to allow for more seamless exploration, but I think just being able to lose yourself for hours practicing the same thing over and over again is where I find myself using the rewind function most often, because I'll just drive around a track repeatedly and then I'll find a shortcut or see a shortcut that I've seen online and be like, oh, I should try that, and then I'll try it repeatedly using the rewind function to go back. And I would highly recommend if you're wanting to learn tracks. That's a great way to do it. It's a lot of fun. You can just lose yourself for hours. Nintendo obviously wanted this to be the biggest and most detailed and immersive Mario Kart game that's ever been made, and I think they've achieved that. And I think maybe even they underestimated how much just a tiny thing like the rewind function would completely change the way that fans experience the game. If you own this game and you've only played it to a somewhat casual extent, first of all, you're like most people, which is fine, and second of all, you have a life, which is awesome. But if you ever wanted some inspiration to maybe spend some time grinding Mario Kart, I'd highly recommend checking out some of the world record times on this game in the time trial section, and it may just pique your interest. I'm very excited to see where this game goes in the future, considering how much tech has already been discovered this early on into the game's lifetime. I think this game has a really bright future ahead of it, and I'm really happy to see how much the Mario Kart community has been enjoying it, because I know I've been really enjoying it. So hey, maybe I'll talk about it even a bit more here on the channel. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.